For many fans, Star Wars Squadrons is the game of our dreams, being the first to offer us such an immersive experience, giving us the chance to truly experience what it's like to sit in the cockpit of our favorite starfighters and engage in iconic space battles like we would see in our favorite Star Wars movies. But anybody who's played the game knows that it is not without its flaws. Oh, what's up you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and we're here today to discuss the top issues facing Star Wars Squadrons, holding it back from potentially greater success, and maybe even causing its slow but steady downfall. Now, a lot of this comes from your feedback directly from the community. I actually put a poll out here on YouTube asking what you all thought were the top issues facing Star Wars Squadrons. Gave you a few options and asked you to leave your comments down in the comment section, but the easy winner of this poll was matchmaking and its unpredictability. This has been an issue since the launch of Star Wars Squadrons, where top level players, because they need to get put into a game, will get matched up with players that they simply shouldn't be. Now, it's the very beginning of a new operation, so all of us have just had our ranks reset. We're all hanging out in the hero rank, so right now we're technically all in the same rank, but there's no doubt that the hundreds of hours that I've put in the game make a huge difference versus those low-level players. And if it's not that, then you're going up against a 5-stack of players, and this can be really frustrating for people in the solo queue. This unpredictable matchmaking can lead to some extremely uneven gameplay experiences, where one round you might face off against that 5-stack and get completely wiped in less than 10 minutes, and the next round you might face off against players with a third of your level and you're the one who's wiping them in less than 10 minutes. It's honestly very rare that I get an actually even match of gameplay in Star Wars Squadrons, and that's usually when I have my own 5-stack to play on. The solo queue experience in Star Wars Squadrons is definitely something that leaves the winning not necessarily up to you. You feel very little control over the outcome of your games when matchmaking does most of that outcome choosing for you by picking who you go against. Now, many of the comments on my poll espouse the fact that this game had such a low player base, and that's why the matchmaking was as abysmal as it is. However, what can be done about that? What can we do to bring in more players, especially if there's not any new content? And that's another big issue facing Star Wars Squadrons, is the player base will never really have the opportunity to get explosive growth if we don't have new content, something exciting that's going to draw new players in. And that's how other games have managed to keep their player base growing and keep existing players engaged in the game that they already have. For example, Apex Legends has battle passes every season that offer up new cosmetics for players to buy, and there's a small price tag attached to them as well. Star Wars Squadrons could add new cosmetics in the form of starfighter skins, pilot helmets and outfits, different pilot voice lines and such. There's a lot you could potentially add to this game in the form of cosmetics if you wanted to. You could also add new components like 1 or 2 a season instead of a giant batch of 4. I don't necessarily think there's a new need for starfighters, but definitely just something new. New maps as well. There are definitely a couple of maps in the campaign in particular that I definitely would like to see as ranked fleet battle maps. For example, one of my favorites is the Imperial Outpost from Mission 8, the one where you have to steal the Baradium from Colonel Grom. It is exactly like the Starfighter Assault from Battlefront 2 on Fondor shipyards, and I would love to be able to experience this map in our ranked fleet battles, and maybe a few others as well. Now, of course, before the release of the game, the devs specifically stated there wouldn't be any post-launch content. No DLC, nothing extra that you'd have to pay for. Something that EA wanted to pass off as like goodwill towards its consumers. A very consumer-friendly practice where you wouldn't have to pay for anything extra in the game. But then, of course, they added new stuff after the launch anyway, in the form of a new map, new components, new starfighters, and we are all just ready for more. Everybody who plays this game is so excited about the fact that we got new stuff after launch that now we want more. And like I said before, we don't necessarily need extra starfighters, but something like new cosmetics, maybe a new component or two, just every operation, something to spice up the gameplay. It would be really, really cool, and I guarantee the fans would support the devs in the form of purchasing whatever Battle Pass system they decided to come up with. Now, something else that could really help out with the future of this game and kind of easing up the kind of stressfulness and strain of playing fleet battles in ranked mode is putting in something a little more casual. Right now, there is no real casual mode in Star Wars Squadrons. You have dogfights, but those can also be very sweaty. And then ranked fleet battles are, of course, a ranked mode, and so they're going to be extremely sweaty no matter what you do. Everybody's trying to vie to increase their skill rating and get higher in that rank ladder. And of course, that is the sole real source of replayability that Squadrons offers at the moment. But I would love to see something a little more casual that you could do with your teammates. Something not fleet battles versus AI, because even those can be a little bit sweaty if you're trying to play against the normal AI fighters. That kind of squadron coordinates unlike any human squadron I've ever seen. My personal suggestion would be a rotating set of limited time modes. And you could base these limited time game modes off missions that already exist in the main campaign. A lot of them feature some really fun objectives, like having to protect a certain target, or having to escort a certain target to a location, or having to destroy a certain target before it escapes a certain location. So wouldn't it be really fun if you could load in with 4 of your actual players and replay some of those campaign missions trying to destroy some of those objectives? Maybe you could earn some glory from completing them in a specific amount of time, or protecting an objective with a specific amount of health left. For example, if you had to save a space station from an Imperial onslaught, you could protect it with, or get rewards for 25%, 50%, and 75% health left. And there's already a reward system in the game in the form of glory, so this could just be another way for you to earn glory, but also a really fun and casual break from the sweatiness of ranked fleet battles. Or even better, add something like the Starfighter Assault mode from Battlefront 2, where you have one side who's defending a specific objective, and the other side has a limited amount of lives with which to destroy that objective. Kind of going back again to that Mission 8 of the campaign on that Imperial cargo bay, where they had 3 towers that you had to protect. What if that was the objective, where the rebels were flying in and their objective was to destroy those 3 specific towers, and then maybe a secondary objective after that, but the Imperials were specifically trying to stop them. The Imperials had an unlimited set of lives, and the rebels had to try and destroy the thing within a specific set of time period. I would love to see something different like that. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about the low player base and how they don't want to divide the player base, because that is also something that happened in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But if you have them be limited time game modes on a rotating basis where nothing sticks around for a really long time, you don't have 3, 4, 5, 6 different game mode options on the main screen, you just have that one extra that rotates out on a weekly or monthly basis, I really believe it would add some extra replay value to Star Wars Squadrons and give you something else to do besides feel extra sweaty in those ranked fleet battles. Don't get me wrong, I love them. They are a ton of fun, but they can also be really, really stressful. and I just would love to see something to entice other players to get into this game, because the skill ceiling is so high that these new players are just going to have a really hard time hopping into the same game that I've been playing for almost 120 hours. However, we have heard pretty much nothing from the devs since the new year, so I kind of doubt we're going to be getting any real content updates in Star Wars Squadrons, which is pretty sad to see. I would love to see more done for this game, and I'd hate to see it go the route of Starfighter Assault in Battlefront 2, where we just got that initial drop and then saw next to nothing for 3 years after that, and we didn't get any satisfaction as Starfighter-loving pilots until this game came out 3 years after Starfighter Assault stopped receiving any kind of updates. But we'll have to see what happens in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how to be a better interceptor, go ahead and click the video that you see on your screen right now. Hope to see you guys in there. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.